So I'm making a new SherlockBench client, which I'm going to use for reinforcement learning. So basically, I want to do end-to-end reinforcement learning with SherlockBench. Anyway, so we're building a minimal client because the original SherlockBench client is designed to support a lot of design requirements which aren't applicable to what we're doing. So the original SherlockBench client, for example, supported several different. It supports, Google's models or Google's API, DeepSeek's API, Anthropic's API. All we need to support is Llama server over localhost, so don't need that. Also, it's designed to record logs of the runs. We do still need logs, but not in the same format. So I just want to make a much sort of simpler client in Clojure, because it's just such a nicer programming language, and then modify it for reinforcement learning. So we're basically going to do a tree search. So obviously SherlockBench requires multiple steps to complete. So what we want to do is at each step find out, at each step generate multiple completions. Then in order to find out which completion is best, we need to complete the whole rest of the benchmark from that starting point to give each a score. And then we can choose the best and worst. And that gives us a DPO, a pair of a good and bad pair for DPO. Anyways, so what I've written so far, got too many things open. So what I've done so far, just made a Clojure project. So we've just got two dependencies. So we've got OpenAI Clojure, which will basically the Llama server presents an OpenAI compatible API, so we can use that. And then Soma for templating, just to allow us to template out our prompts. And then, all the standard stuff for builds and tests. And then I've got, so I've just proven that we can call it. And do I have my REPL running? Yeah, so unable to, oh yeah, I must have restarted the REPL. So if we evaluate, yeah, so we've got a response back from Quen. And we have also proven that we can read the config. And I've also made another namespace with prompts. Just showing that we can use Soma to just template our data in. Anyway, so the next step is, so basically a SherlockBench client is basically sitting in between two APIs. Because on the one side you've got the SherlockBench API, which is administering the test, and on the other side you've got the API that you're accessing the LLM through. Anyway, so the next step, if we look at the code base of the old Python client, so we've got this code here for starting a new run. So this just means send a request to the SherlockBench API, and it will give us back a run ID, runtime, benchmark version, and attempts. The important parts of the run ID and the attempts. If I remember correctly, the client has to include the run ID and the attempt ID with each request. And the attempts obviously include all of the information that the client is allowed to have. So it will be given a specification of what inputs the tool takes. Like 3 integers or 2 strings or whatever. Anyway, so how do we do this in Python? Are we just using requests? Python has we've got a function for it. We've got a function called post. Oh yeah, I remember. So it's in a different namespace, right? It's in main. Yeah, so we're just using the requests library, which is Python's standard solution for this. So what is the standard closure solution for doing an HTTP request? Have I done such a thing in a project before? Probably, I don't really remember. Something fun to do actually. The LLM that we're going to be reinforcement training, we can access it locally. Is this right? So the Docker's running. If I just log this in, so this is a instance of LibreChat just running in Docker on this machine. I'm just looking at my password manager. Why does my keyboard layout keep changing? This really is a pain. I'm connected by RDP to a remote desktop and it keeps changing my keyboard layout. I really wish it would. It's definitely set to UK, so why? In the past, whenever this has happened, I've just set the keyboard layout to UK and it's fixed it. I've had to switch this machine to XFCE desktop. So if we switch it to US and then switch it back to UK, well, this is going to be a massive pain. What exactly is this thing? Oh, there we go. I don't know if I created this thing accidentally because I went into settings and input method. I don't know if I screwed it up. Anyway, it's still correct, is it? Cool. So can we log in? Yeah, so if we make a new chat. Yeah, so I've got a few different things set up, haven't I? I've got it connected to my free Grok account. I haven't used it for a while. Let's just test if it all works. Oh, cool. So we can use Grok if we want, or we can use. This prompt is quite funny because I love to see what it thinks about. Anyway, yeah, cool. So maybe what we'll do, I did a video before where I said that I would only use local large language models to help me. So let's, I thought that was quite a fun exercise, a fun limitation, right? Only using primitive AI that can run locally. So Qwen 314B can run on my graphics card at home, which has 16 gigs of VRAM. And it's also going to be the same model that I'll be reinforcement training. And I've got my desktop in the other room, so it doesn't make such a racket. Right, anyway, so in Clojure, what is the most common library used for I've probably used that before. Or you know when I might have used this before. If we look at repos, if we go to a terminal, this is the Llama server running, by the way. Oh, I've just got this close Claude. NVIDIA SMI, so you can see the model using 14 gigs. Anyway, I forget what I was doing. Oh yeah. So repos. So I've got an alias set up for. I've got a local Git server. So there was an early experiment I did with SherlockBench, or yeah. So before it was called SherlockBench, it was called InterroBench, and InterroBench was originally written in Clojure, which is fun because I probably would have done HTTP requests, right? So COJ HTTP, right? So yeah, I used the same thing that that Quen has recommended. People with a better memory would remember what they'd used. As client, right? So client slash post. Okay, so yeah, but InterroBench worked differently. So InterroBench was a single code base. It wasn't split into a server and client. So it's not an exact template I can copy, but it's interesting nonetheless. So if we go back to the Python implementation, so what are we doing just to get right? SBench clients, SherlockBench client. Was it a get or a post, right? Run internal. Start run. Start new run. Okay, so we do a post. So we post so what arguments does our post function take? Base URL, run ID, path and data. Base URL, no run ID, path, and data. And our post data is what? Right. So yeah, we post a client ID just so the server can log the ID of whatever is taking the test. An optional subset. And attempts per problem, right? How many attempts do we want to do per problem? And presumably this is what, for resuming a run, or? I'm guessing this is for resuming a run. If is UUID. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, so the server, I gave it a feature that I never ended up using, where you can create a run preemptively. Cool, no problem. Right, so the only bits we need is a client ID. Can't remember how subset works, to be honest. How does that work? That's interesting. I'm curious about that now. Oops. Yeah, I'm curious about that now. How, if we go to the code of the what's going on? Oh, I called it API, right? So SherlockBench, what is it, roots or something? So when we call create run, it's going to do create run handler. So what's this subset used for? Huh? Not found. I don't know, maybe it's a feature I never implemented. Okay, not important. So the only thing I need then is a client ID. Attempts per problem, are we going to do that? It depends what I'm building, right? Is this only going to be used for reinforcement learning, or am I going to implement a generic client enclosure first and then customize it for reinforcement learning afterwards? I think I wanted to do the latter. So yeah, we'll implement attempts per problem. Yeah. Cool. So this here is basically base URL run ID. So presumably I create a closure for this somewhere, do I, so that I can reuse it? Because every time we send a request, the base URL and the run ID are always going to be the same no matter what. So when we yeah, so postfn is clearly a closure that was created somewhere. So oh yeah, I'm right. See, we create a closure because even though Python is not really a functional language, I like to do functional programming as much as I can. Cool, so we can copy that pattern, right? So we'll make a post function as well. So let's make a utils namespace or something, and so we're going to use, have I still got this open? The only problem is I haven't yeah, so we need to go into dapps and add the CLJ HTTP dependency. Three 3.13.0. So just as a random tangent, we've got 3.13.1. So just as a random tangent, you know, I was thinking about how much data you're getting when. So if we look at there's some people called Kiwik, and they provide databases you can download. Yeah, Kiwiks. So they provide, for example, a very compressed copy of Wikipedia. And it's like, I forget, like 100 gigs for all of English language Wikipedia. But a large language model, like this model that I'm using here, this model is 10 gigs on the disk, and it has a lot of knowledge that you wouldn't find in Wikipedia. Where's their listings? It's one of those websites that's impossible to navigate, isn't it? Well, this is super irritating. So we just ask Gemini because Google doesn't know. Yeah, there we go. So somewhere here will be Wikipedia. Yeah, top 100 Wikipedia articles is 300 megs. But there's also the same thing for 13 megs, so I don't know what the difference is. Right, now this one is 115 gigs, so presumably this is... Well, anyway, you get the point. So you can download, presumably, all of Wikipedia for 100 gigs. But I mean, could you get a recipe out of Wikipedia? Does Wikipedia contain recipes? I don't think it really contains stuff like that, does it? Like Wikipedia doesn't contain recipes or instructions of how to do things. Whereas you can ask an LLM anything. Anyway, cool, that was a digression, but that's fine. What's going on? What am I looking at? I added this in the wrong place, did I? What am I doing? Oh no, that's fine. So quit that. Run it again. Cool. So in our SherlockBench example, did we make a nice wrapper function? No, but we've got an example of doing a post. Authorization bearer. Yeah, the SherlockBench API isn't authenticated per se. And then this gives us everything we need, but I just realized, do we have JSON? So Cheshire, do we need that? I don't know if we need Cheshire. Do we need that? Because there's multiple ways to do JSON enclosure. I think I do need it. I just have a vague memory recently of not needing Cheshire for some reason. Well, there's no reason not to use it. It just means I need one more dependency. Cool, so we add Cheshire. Again, what's the latest version? 6.2. And I'm on 5.13. That's a suspiciously big jump. Since only last year. Release 6.2 2 months ago. How can we have gone up in so many versions? 6.1 last year, 6.0 last year, but I was on 5.13. Well, I guess that's quite, so 5.13 would have gone, yeah, I guess I must have, right, I see, 5 point, okay, fine. I guess it's just at 6 point whatever now. What was it, 6.2? Point 0, 6.2.0. So why have we imported that as client? Let's call it HTTP. Cool. Right. Yeah, so I like the pattern I established. What's going on? Why can I like the pattern I established here with this post main with this post function. That's that seems like a good idea to me. Cool. So we're doing what? So we're going to do. No, that's right. So cool. So do we need any particular headers? Yeah, let's just yoink all of this. Cool. I already looked at this, right? So we wanted what? We wanted. Yeah, base URL. Hold on. So what are we actually sending to the server? So we're concatenating base URL with path. Right, so we need to do that. So cool. And they are, yeah, adding adding the run ID to whatever data we've been given. So I can never remember in Clojure like what the right pattern is for doing this. So is it conjoin? So cat eats mouse. Tiger eats goat. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I know what you do. You do update in, right? That's a nicer that's a nicer way to achieve the same thing. We do that. Oops. What's going on with my shortcuts? Oh, it's because I'm in a REPL, right? The shortcuts don't work in a REPL. Map key. What? K is a key. F is a function. Yeah, this isn't what we wanted. A sock, that's it, a sock associate. There we go. Cool. So that should be it, right? So I mean, throw exceptions false. So do we really want throw exceptions false? How do I access the docs for this? Throw exceptions. Can we really not trace this back to the docs? There should be a way to see the source code of it. I don't see why I would want this. Why would I want to prevent exceptions? If something goes wrong, I need to know about it, right? Okay. Cool, so are we replicating this function? What else does it do? Yeah, so we don't need error handling right now. We can worry about that later. Error false. Oh, I see. So we can return an error if we want to. Do we need to emulate that? I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, so I mean, I'm kind of not expecting to get any errors because Llama server is running on localhost, and the SherlockBench API is going to be running on localhost. Now, prematurely trying to deal with hypothetical exceptions is not a good idea, in my opinion. It's better to actually wait for an error to happen and then put some proper thought into how you want to deal with it, rather than just putting try catch everywhere preemptively. Cool. So sorry, but what are we returning though? So we're returning the just whatever we get back from http/post. So what does what comes back from it, right? So we get response from it. If not response 200, well, print ret. Right. So we just print what we got. Yeah, that seems reasonable. So this is the real return. So this is what we're actually expecting to return. So we pass the body. So what does true mean in this context? Can we see the docs for this? Why is it not letting me see the docs of anything? What's wrong with it? When I press Control C, no, that's supposed to show me docs. I don't understand why that's happening. Why would that be? It is Control C D D, is it? Yeah, so it works for stuff in the standard library. Oh, is it because I haven't evaluated the namespace? That will be what? Oh, unable to resolve print ret. Cool. So print ret. Okay, so I had a shared function. A shared namespace. Apply print line all. What's the point of this? I mean, takes multiple arguments and prints them on separate lines, I guess. It's not clear to me why we need that. Why not just use a normal print? JSON/pass string body response true. Yeah, I don't know why I need that. Cool, so I should be able to see the docs now, right? What did I want to see the docs for? Oh yeah, pass string. Right, now I can see the docs. Yeah, I just hadn't evaluated the namespace. Returns the closure object corresponding to the given JSON encoded string. Right, yeah, I just wanted to know what true is, didn't I? Array coerce function. Why would we want to? No, sorry, it takes two. We're giving it two arguments. String and key function. An optional key function argument can be even true to coerce keys to keywords. Yes. Yeah, we do want to coerce keys to keywords. Cool, nice. That makes sense. Fine. So let's review what we've done. So how did we end up with that like that? Cool. So we do the request. And we return the response, essentially. Cool, so let's just test it, right? So do I might have to test it from the other namespace where we actually have config, because we are going to need this imported anyway. utils/post. Is that right? No, it's called server.url. Server URL. Why did I close that? Well, there's a slash on the end. So yeah, anyway, so the second argument is what, and where is everything? So, right, we don't have a run ID. So how does this handle that? Start new run. Right, Python has a none. I think in closure it's null or something. Or nil. There we go. Right, and this will be the same. This is the path. And then post data. Oh yeah, so we need to just make something up for that. So oops. It's going to give us an error that the problem set isn't valid, but that's fine. So let's just see if these work. Connection refused, right? And that's actually expected because the SherlockBench server isn't running. So we've got a 400 response. That might be what we want, because we know that we didn't. Can I see? Why does it do that? Invalid exam set. Yep. Yeah, we expected that. I think I can remember what they're called, so I think that is probably a valid exam set, is it? Okay, cool. Cool, so it's given us a run ID, and it's given us all our attempts. Cool, 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 cool. So let's have a look at what we've done. So we've added CLJ, HTTP in Cheshire. That's good. This is our rich comment, and then we've added this new file. Just give it a once over, so posting to there. Might be worth adding a comment. This all seems kind of unnecessary. Let's not bother with the cool. All right, I think this is good. So we've staged everything. So cool. Well, that's a good chunk of work for now, and I will come back to this later.